Hello. So you are first spectator for today, and which country are you from? And can you tell me, can you hear me and see me? Доброго дня. То ти Стефа? Я бачу. Нік, ніби знайомий. Добре, чудово, приємно тебе бачити. От сьогодні ми розберемо партію з останнього туру, яку я грав на чемпіонаті Європи. So today I will annotate my game from last round from European Individual Championship. My opponent was Mohamed Muradli from Azerbaijan. So it's strange that I was sure that I will qualify if I will win the game. But it wasn't true, so I won, but I didn't qualify to FIDE World Cup, unfortunately. But before the game, I was totally sure that I will qualify. It's very strange, but okay. So in this situation, I expected that my opponent also will want to win because draw has doesn't give him any chance to qualify for World Cup. In my preparation, I mostly was focused in King's Indian, which opening which he plays very often, and in this situation. I expected this, but he played e6. Okay, it's a reasonable choice. I played knight f3. Probably he expected knight c3, bishop b4, e3 line, which I played in the first round. But I played knight f3, d5, knight c3, bishop e7. So classical queen's gambit. And now white has choice. The most popular moves here are bishop f4 or bishop g5. So bishop g5 I played many times, and now after e3 black has three opportunities. So knight bd7 is possible, favorite choice of Vladimir Kramnik, also knight e4 Lasker system, and also b6 Makogonov Bondarevsky system. But decide to play bishop f4, and after castle the most natural and the most popular move here is e3, but after e3 black has choice, so c5 is possible, this line, or knight bd7. It's another popular line. Also it's possible to play more rare line b6, which for example successfully played Cuban, but now American Grandmaster Lenier Dominguez. It's also possible. Idea if bishop d3, just take and play bishop a6, as I remember. So queen c2, what is idea? I have seen that Czech Grandmaster Jerzy Stoček played this, so he's quite good in theory. So idea that if compare knight d7 line, after c takes d5, black usually taken with knight. And after knight takes d5, e takes d5, this exchange of knights, it's useful for black, and now they have positional threat bishop b4 check. For example, e takes d5, bishop d3, it's more comfortable for white because there is no check anymore, and for black it's more difficult to collocate their pieces in optimal way. Hi. But now, after knight bd7, after c takes d5, black cannot take with knight because they are losing pawn c7 without sufficient compensation. So, for example, this, if bishop b4, knight d2, and I don't think that. So, if bishop d4, knight d2, and bishop d5, black cannot take with knight. So, for example, this, if bishop b4, knight d2, and I don't think that. So, if bishop d4, knight d2, and bishop d5, black cannot take with knight. So, Black is good here. Okay, maybe game is not finished. Maybe not 92 because now black can take pawn back after queen f6. So maybe it's not totally clear yet, but still I like position of white. For example, king e1, queen takes d4, rook d1 is possible. Also, please don't forget that white king cannot castle anymore. Yes, maybe king d1. King d1, it's totally possible. Yes, maybe even more logical because now black should play with his queen and white has tempi for a3. Maybe this is more accurate. I can agree with this. So it doesn't look at least that black has enough compensation for the pawn. E3, bishop d3 is coming, a3, white is ready, so maybe you are right, maybe king d1 is better. So if c5, d takes c5, bishop c5, white can go e3 and play this famous position, so can appear here also. But also possible to play, try to play without a3. For example, queen's long castle immediately. It's possible. The idea to prepare e4. Bishop takes f2 is obviously dubious because f4 is coming. So knight c6, e4, and position is very far from standard. Okay, black can try queen a5 also, so it's sharp position and not so popular, but I have seen that Evgeny Bareyev played this line with white. I mean, idea long castle without e3. So I remember it was game Bareyev van der Sterren, but unfortunately I don't remember exactly what. So probably knight c6 Van der Sterren played, and e4 or a3 he played. Okay, but if somebody are interested, e3 knight g4. Okay, it's anyway looks dangerous for black, but it's not winning immediately. Probably queen e2, however, is possible. If queen b6, knight d4, so e3 is also. So bishop takes f2 is dubious, but also e4 looks like very promising for white. Also probably queen b6, black can fight with idea bishop e3. Yes, maybe e3 is stronger. It's totally possible. I didn't analyze this position very deeply, but I have feeling that bishop takes f2. It's quite dubious slide, so probably more solid lines is something like knight c6. But okay, but if knight c6, e4, for example, if d4, e5, something like this. Okay, I cannot guarantee that white has advantage here, but it's position very interesting to play. So if knight h5, bishop g5. Hello. So maybe queen a5 is the most accurate move for black. I don't know. Yes, but now white can consider, for example, this, and e4. Or e3. E3 is also possible. But if e3, maybe e3 as well. e3, knight g4 also. Not okay. e3, if knight g4, knight b3, it's possible. If queen b6, c5 is coming. d4, e5. If knight h5, bishop g5. If bishop e7 takes knight e4. Looks like promising for white. What if bishop b4 after knight d2? Okay. Let's consider. So queen a5, knight d2, bishop b4. Probably knight b3. Reading chess book on stream is good idea. It's possible idea. Queen a6, c takes d5. The bishop takes c3. Yeah, it's so of the bishop b4. Yes, maybe bishop b4 is good. Okay, but white can play this, of course, and play main theoretical line. The knight c6, a3, and now many moves possible. Hello. Okay, but this is c5 line, but my opponent played knight bd7 anyway, so principal alternative was d takes c4. Okay, if somebody wants to play with me, it's more logical to challenge me in Twitch. In Twitch, I'm not playing, but so d4 is the principal choice. This structure, but white has good dynamic resources. 5 bishop e7 has contraplay and requires special analysis. For example, knight c3 is possible. For example, the bishop d2, knight b6, something like this. It's very sharp position. Both has their trumps. For example, knight c4 probably. Black has threat h6. So white has no time to play h4 calmly because h6 is threat. So probably black is okay here. But I'm not sure how this line is forced. After e4, okay, e3. e3 more solid in this position. Now it's question what is the best for black. Maybe knight d7, knight b6 somehow. And this type of position it's playable for white. And Alexander Alekhine was first who liked to play such a structure with white. Okay, he lost against Emanuel Lasker in this structure, but he won excellent game against Akiba Rubinstein. Not exactly in this position, but I mean, bishop f4, knight takes f4, e takes f4 structure. Difficult question, both is possible here. probably. Okay, long castle is more aggressive, but same time it's more risky. So it's choice, matter of taste, matter of mood. Okay, but my opponent allows me to have what I wanted, so he played knight bd7 after c takes d5, as I explained it already. Take with knight. Black is losing pawn without sufficient compensation, so he took this pawn. And now white has excellent version of Carlsbad variation. So e3, c6, bishop d3, rook e8. But about castle, I am not so sure. So I explain why. Because there is the important theoretical line. I mean, from this move, knight bd7, cd ed, bishop g5, c6, e3, bishop e7. Of course, black can play h6 and g5 at knight h5, but this is another story. So after e3, bishop e7, queen c2, castle, bishop d3, rook e8, and now white has interesting plan to play h3, and after knight f8 to play bishop f4, waiting. And idea that for black is not so easy to make something useful, because if bishop d6, white can take and long castle and start attack with g4, because with this exchange for black is much more difficult to organize contraplay in queen's flank. c5 is always d takes c5, knight d4, so for contraplay, bishop from e7 can be useful to go to b4, but after exchange, it's not possible. And according to theory, this position is better for white. So it was idea of Ukrainian grandmaster Vyacheslav Aingor. And also, black has no opportunity occupy successfully e4 square, for example. If queen e7, g4 is coming, if knight e4 takes, knight d2 is possible, and black is not able to defend his pawn. If f5, white can just take, and f3. And same story if knight g6, bishop h2, bishop d6, also white can do same plan. Castle, and then g4 is coming, and white attack of white is more dangerous than attack of black. Maybe it's not so simple. Maybe this position is playable for black anyway, but at least not so easy. Okay, I mean, probably it's possible to play something like queen e7 after g4, bishop d7. So idea to prepare knight e4 in better moment, or to prepare rook ac8, c5. Probably it's playable position for black as well, but usually expert plays in this position a6 or a5. So black is waiting castle. So if long castle, black will not exchange bishops. If short castle, black can exchange bishop. Bishop d6, or firstly this, and now bishop d6. So, but now in the game, I had same position, but with white to move. I could have if I played, if I would play h3 instead of castle. So I will explain that h3 was more logical choice. I will put exclamation mark. So at the moment, knight h5. Okay, bishop takes h7, of course, but with pawn on h3, knight h5 never has sense because white has h2 square for bishop. So knight f8, and we have seen this position with white, with black to move, and I explained it that usually black plays a6 or a5. I played this position against David Navarra with black and won a nice game. Please write something because if nothing, I am worried if I am not explaining to emptiness. So now, in my opinion, was good moment to play h3 and after knight f8 to play bishop h2. With same idea. If bishop d6, I'm ready to take on d6 and play long castle. Продовжуємо. Добре, продовжуємо. If knight g6, white has several ideas. For example, knight e5 is possible. If takes knight, d takes e5, and bishop takes h7. Bishop d6, f4, bishop b4. It's probably the best, but anyway, position of white is more active. So simply castle is possible. Also, after knight g6, white can change plan, and if bishop e6, knight g5 is possible with direct threat to take on e6. So knight on g6 is not so good. So I think this was the best choice for white in this position. But okay, I played castle a little bit primitively, knight f8, I played h3, knight g6, and now black realized this plan of exchange bishop, and they are ready to start contraplay with queen e7, knight e4, bishop f5, something like this. So castle, I don't like this move, frankly speaking. It's possible, but h3 was more precise in my opinion, with idea bishop h2. But during the game, I didn't see bishop h2. Okay, maybe possible just play g4 and not completely equal this position, you mean? Okay, maybe slightly better for white still, but white need to be accurate. I wasn't accurate during the game. But black has contraplay, so queen e7, knight e4, and then bishop f5. This is plan. So I play rook a b1. Of course, other plans are possible. For example, white can consider rook a e1. It's totally different play. Yes, I played in the game after queen e7, knight d2, but по такій пішаковій структурі. Чудово, чудово. So this is possible plan. So if white wants to play knight d2, probably it's good idea to put rook on e1. But okay, black can play bishop d7, for example. And then rook e7, another rook goes to e8 if white will do something. Knight d2, f3. So it's a position which not easy to play for both. Okay, so I played rook a b1, so I want just prepare bishop takes knight, and knight e5 is not good idea because bishop f5 always possible. So and knight, I will explain. So this is certainly not good idea. Knight on e5 is not stable. Black can play knight d7 in some moments, so it's certainly not a good idea. I play rook b1. It's okay. I want to prepare b4, b5, and standard plan. But in some variation, we can see that because of tactical reasons, rook can be attack it with bishop from f5. So in some variation, white must be careful about this. But okay, not at the moment. So a5 natural move, and now problem for white that if a3, for example, queen e7, b4, black can play knight e4. Not hurry to take a b4 because now in some variation a4 pawn can be hanging. For example, if takes immediately, I will take if knight e4 b5. So bishop f5 and something like rook fc1, for example. So if knight e4, I think this is stronger. Now if b5, okay, black cannot take on a3 immediately because e4 is hanging, but after bishop f5, queen takes a3. Yes, b5, bishop f5, so I was afraid during the game. And now it's unpleasant somehow for me that pawn a3 is hanging. Okay, maybe it's playable position, but after a4, rook ac8, black can consider also. Or queen f6 probably, with idea, maybe queen f6, with idea knight takes c3 and bishop takes h3, something like this. B takes c6, b takes c6, bishop e4, okay, it's possible, but d takes, and now knight h4 is coming, so no, it's dangerous for white somehow. Queen g5, it's coming, so. But okay, after a5, of course, we can see that b6 square is weak, so white can try to utilize this goal with knight. Knight e2. Yes, it's possible. So I agree that white has contraplay positions. Yes, maybe it's dangerous, yes, but it's double edged. Yes, maybe it's totally possible to play this. Knight g3 is coming. So c6 is attack. It's okay. Maybe black can consider something like this: knight g3, h5. If this knight takes g2, something like this. If king takes g2, h4. It's just option. Maybe it's not correct. I don't know, but okay, maybe not queen takes c6. Maybe white has something better. For example, queen c5 may be better here. So yes, maybe queen c5 is strong. Okay, maybe it was possible to play a3, b4, and after knight e4, simply b5 and simply take on. But after takes, black can take also with bishop probably. Anyway, knight d2. Okay, before b5, but where exactly? So here, a3. Before b5, black knights are very far from c4, so b takes c6, yes, b takes c6, bishop e4. Okay, bishop takes e4 is also possible. But maybe now it's white is better because black has no good attack. If knight h4, even g3 it's possible. Okay, maybe it's a good idea at all for white. Maybe I was afraid about my pawn on a3, but probably black never can take it successfully. So maybe it was correct. Also possible was to play something like this prophylactic move idea. If queen e7, e4 is possible, but the question how dangerous is e4. So maybe it's nothing special. For example, be e1, queen f6 probably. White has some initiative, however, but probably it's not very dangerous. Something like this. But okay, after rook f e1, black can play bishop d7. But after bishop d7, maybe queen d7 and bishop d5. Where queen d7? Ah, here queen d7. Maybe queen d7 is possible as well. Yes, maybe even more precise. Okay, but after queen e7, I can play knight d2. If now knight h4, e4 looks like unpleasant for black because they have problem with pawn on h7. Also, maybe this position is still playable for black. I don't know. For example, d takes e4. If knight takes e4, bishop f5 is possible. Maybe nothing bad for black. I don't know. If knight c5, queen takes e1, it's very unclear who is better. Okay, but maybe it's good idea for white. If queen c7, queen g3 can be considered. So it is queen against two rooks. If rook e7, d5. Okay, usually two rooks are stronger than queen, but black piece is not so well discoordinated, not so well coordinated at the moment. So I would prefer white here, but okay, it's maybe matter of taste. But for example, if pawn is hanging, if rook e7, d5. Okay, it's not forcing line at all. So, for example, also maybe possible to take with another knight. My idea if bishop f5, I don't know if g3 it's possible. At least it's possible to check, but I don't know if it's strong. So if knight takes e4, g takes h4, and knight under the pin. If bishop takes, maybe this is the best, because white cannot take with knight. Knight f3 check is coming. So bishop takes, and now simply knight g6 is possible. It's only move because knight e4, rook takes e4. Knight f3 check, king g2. And black is losing material. But after knight g6, black is not losing material, and this position is quite solid for black. Even there is threat queen d7, double attack against h3 and d4. But okay, here I can also consider knight a4. It's positional idea to exchange bishops. So I want to play knight b6 and then take on c8, and if I will allow this, black has no good chances for attack. And also queen a4, maybe it's also possible with idea to take on a5, but I'm not sure that black has no dangerous attack like this. Bishop h3 is threat, knight h4 somewhere. So white has many alternatives. Okay, probably you are right that the most logical was simply to continue a3 b4 plan, and if queen e7, knight e4, just take and knight d2. But I played rook f0. So probably it's not the best. Because this is not concrete move, so it's not so clear where my rook will be more useful, on e1 or on c1. And queen e7. Black is ready to play knight e4. So after rook e1, I was not so sure about, for example, this b4, rook e7. This, and my rook is not so active on e1 as on c1. Also, okay, again we can consider the standard plan, bishop e4, knight d2, if knight h4, knight e2. Maybe white is totally good here. But okay, I played rook fc1. My opponent played queen e7. Of course, it's a good idea. Take f4 after knight h4. So after knight h4, d takes e4, knight takes. Take here. If take here, bishop takes e4. And okay, maybe it's not just a bad, but certainly black has some problems. h7 hanging, so black should play something like king h8. After king h8, even d5 is possible to consider. So this position looks like promising for white at least. So, in my opinion, more logical to play bishop f5 immediately, as I already explained. But okay, so rook fc1, I played knight d2, knight h4, and I played g3. So knight h4, it's not just attacking move, so black plan is to prepare g6 and bishop f5. Okay, very likely white can just ignore this plan, but again, after a3, g6, b4, bishop f5, now we can see the problem that after b5, queen takes a3 is strong. So this is the reason that the black is not taking this, because now, okay, bishop. After bishop f5, white can play b5 comfortably. Of course, it's not a big advantage. Black has normal position, but only slightly better for white. But after bishop f5, white can... yes, after g6, play g3, but it's possible, but... okay, but knight f5, and now black has tactical threats. Knight takes e3, probably. So, and... yes, also black has planned simply to play knight d6, attack h3 pawn, and prepare bishop f5. But I played g3, so I expected he will play knight g6, and knight is trapped. Okay, sorry, where? h3, g6. After bishop f5, g3, knight is not trapped because bishop takes d3 and knight f5 is coming. b5, okay, this position. h5, for example. Playable for both, maybe slightly better for white, but not more. So g3, I expected he will play knight g6, and now white can play h4, or white can play bishop f1. But after bishop f1, for example, black can consider something like this to prepare knight e7, bishop f5, and try to utilize, or queen d6 with same idea. Try to utilize unlucky position of rook on b1. Queen d6. After queen d6, also white need to consider rook takes e3 and queen takes g3. So h4 is possible, but my king became weaker somehow. Okay, but probably white should play h4. Because now at least the diagonal. g3, I didn't spend much time, but I spent much time after queen d7. So this is playable position. White can continue his plan a3 b4, and for black, I don't know, maybe black can try something like this. If a3, okay, and now maybe even this is possible to consider. I don't know if it's correct or not, but such ideas it's necessary to consider. Maybe it's just rubbish. d1, knight g4, who knows. Or also, if tactics doesn't work, black can play queen g4 with idea to take. If bishop e2, queen h3, so provoke move repetition. Okay, after queen g4, however, for white is queen d1 is good idea. So maybe queen h3 black can play to prepare some attacking ideas. If bishop f1 now, yes, risky, but white needs to do something. So knight g6 was move which I expected, but my opponent played queen d7. Suddenly he sacrificed a piece. So its consequences are not so obvious, and I play queen d1. Yes, you are right that such a play, rook fc1 and knight d2 g3, it's dubious. So queen d7, very sharp. I'm not sure this is totally correct. So I played queen d1. Okay, queen d1. I was scary about attack. So, yeah, you mean queen d1 here? Yes, after queen h3, bishop f1. Yes. So queen d7, brave decision. So Wasn't necessary. Knight g6. Ah, yes. Ah, after queen d7. Yes. So queen d1. It's rook takes e3 doesn't work. So it looks tempting for black. Organize such attack, but the problem that I have bishop f1, and black has two hanging pieces. So rook takes e3 doesn't work. But okay, was principal question. Why not take? So I considered this. Now, if knight e2, rook takes e3, it's possible. And I was really afraid. So I considered knight f1, knight e2. Queen d1 is also possible. So positions is not so obvious for me. So probably it was possible to take a piece. Yes, after bishop f1, I considered so queen g, if queen g4, bishop g2, if bishop f5, queen d1. It's important, and now white is better. But after bishop f1, queen takes h4 immediately. I was not so sure. And now if knight f3, if knight f3, queen g4 check, and bishop f5. So now we can see why rook is bad on b1. If immediately bishop g2, yes, bishop h3. So about this position, I was not so sure what I need to play. If knight f1, maybe rook e6, something like this. Or knight g4. So about this position, during the game I was not sure, because black wants to play rook e6 and rook g6, but is the question what is more precise move order. Maybe it's okay for white, but okay, for example, rook e6. f3, yes. f3, but after f3, knight h5. And rook g6. If knight e2, maybe knight e2 is more precise. So f3, knight, queen f2. Queen f2. Queen g5, king h2. No, king h2. Bishop takes g2. Bishop takes g2, queen takes g2, knight h5. It's possible, but queen h2. So there is no direct mate, but okay, who knows, for example, when this is possible. So it's very difficult to evaluate this position. Also, okay, instead of bishop f1, maybe queen d1 was interesting. Okay, not comfortable, but there is piece up. So queen d1 was possible. Yes, but after queen d1, rook takes e3. And now after bishop f1, queen takes h4. And queen g3. This is unpleasant for white. This variation I have seen during the game, because king h1, knight g4, after bishop g2, just take, and black at least has perpetual check. So king f1 I cannot play because knight g4. And after king h1, black at least has draw after queen h6. Probably as maximum as well, because white has a huge material advantage, but okay, so this is draw. So this variation I have seen during the game. Also, I considered knight e2 and knight f1 possibilities. So knight f1. Yes, but after knight f1, queen g4 and rook takes e3. It's possible. This is dangerous somehow. I considered knight c e2, but rook f3, something like this. I didn't like this position, also maybe it's playable for me. So maybe bishop f1, it's really the best. So yeah, queen takes, so if queen g4, okay, queen g4 is good line for white, I think. So queen h4. Okay, knight f3, and this, I think black is okay, but also maybe playable position. So queen b3, bishop b1, rook takes b1. Yes. Well, during the game, I considered that black is good here, but it's not obvious. But okay, so bishop g2, bishop h3, knight f1. Okay, maybe this is... black can also take... knight g4. Knight g4 immediately, or takes on g2 and knight g4 is also possible. Idea to prevent knight g3 somehow, because if knight g3, rook takes e3, it's unpleasant. It's quite simple tactic. e3 and then queen takes h1. So knight g3 doesn't work, so white should play something else. And black is ready for rook e6, rook g6, or rook h6. After f3, black can just take on e3, and they will have 3 pawns and also attack. Okay, but this recommendation I can take another pawn already. This is good for black. Okay, maybe something else. Yes, so okay, maybe knight g4 is threat. So white has no time for knight e2 because knight g4. So bishop g2, bishop h3. maybe now knight. Ah, if now knight e2, again bishop takes g2, knight g4 is unpleasant. So knight f1 is more or less forced. And now black has choice. Okay, so this, and knight g4 is quite logical. After f3, rook takes e3. Rook takes e3 may be too much because white will have two pieces up, and I don't see knight h2 is coming. Okay, but knight takes e3, it's totally okay. So at least wasn't easy. Hello. Ah, and also I considered here knight e2, but here rook takes e3. It's unpleasant. Ah, but sorry, now knight f4. No, knight f4 is possible. Knight f4 is white is just winning. Yes, knight f4 is winning because queen g4 check. Yeah, yes, queen g4 check and rook h. Yes, queen g4. Yes, of course. Knight g2, rook h3. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So rook takes e3. Yes, is queen g4 check. I don't see what is this. So this I was worried during the game because if king f1, knight g4, black is winning. So rook takes e3 is strong. But okay. So queen d1 is possible, but queen d1 it's drawish line after rook takes e3 and queen takes h4 after bishop f1. So probably bishop f1 is the most principal, but queen takes h2, knight f3, queen g4, and bishop f5. Unclear position. If bishop g2, bishop h3, black has quite dangerous attack. But white has extra piece. So knight f1. Takes knight g4. So okay, I decide not to take the piece. So I played queen d1, but now it's obvious that black has nice positions. So rook takes e3 is too primitive trap. Bishop f1 strong. Black is losing material. But of course, bishop h3, knight f3. There is proposition. Okay, we can consider this. If queen g4, knight e1. Maybe it's a good idea to prepare f3 and queen f2. But okay, please continue. So this rook e6, for example. f3, queen g5. f3, queen g5, queen f2. So if rook takes e3, f4 is coming. This is good for white. So queen f2, if I just play this. Knight d1. Maybe knight d1 also there are other moves, like even king f1. I'm afraid that knight h5 is possible, but I'm not totally sure. Maybe not, because after knight g3, maybe it works. So this looks like. After rook a e8, knight c2. Okay, maybe knight c2. But what to do after knight h5? Rook g6 is coming. King h2 is possible, but looks like dangerous somehow. King h2, bishop takes g2, and it's really dangerous. Okay, knight c2. Maybe knight d1 is the best to keep knight ready to take on g2 this knight. But anyway, knight h5 is possible. So black has quite good practical chances. Maybe objectively white is much better, but white needs to play extremely precise. King h1, where king h1? Here king h1. But king h1, king h1 or king h2. Yes, it's possible. But the question how strong it is. So, for example, takes, knight h5 is coming. So black wants to play rook h6. Yes, rook h1 is possible. This endgame is possible, for example. This endgame looks like better for white. So knight here is stronger than 3 pawns. Okay, at the moment I want to take 10 minutes break. I will come back in 10 minutes. Hi, I'm here again. So, during the break, I start to think about variation which I showed you, but so about takes and queen d1. So I showed you this line, and I wrote that king f1 is bad because knight g4. But during the break, I suddenly realized that it's not mate because white has queen e2. Hello, everybody can hear and see me. I hope. So probably white is just winning because material advantage it's extremely big. Yes, queen e1, knight h2. Yes, it's mate, but that is true. But after queen e2, only we can check this and queen g1, but it doesn't look like good for black. This is finish. White is winning. So maybe queen d1 was the strongest way. And I rejected this because of miscalculation. So now white is ready to play bishop f1 or something like this. Okay, we can check another tactical tricks. For example, knight g4 is possible. And now if queen f3, queen h2 check, and now black has some opportunities. Knight takes e3, takes, and queen takes d2. So at the moment, black has 7 pawns, white has 5 pawns. So black has only 2 pieces, 2 pawns against piece, but they are pretending to take third pawn on e3, and position is not so clear. But after knight g4, also possible to play something else. Okay, knight f3, it's hardly good because rook takes e3 is coming with idea queen g3 and black is winning. So knight f3 not. Knight f1 is possible, however. Knight f1, and now white is prepared to play rook c2, something like this. Or knight e2, knight f4. But okay, rook e6 still. Rook e6, bishop f5 is possible. Yes, rook e6, bishop f5. So good news for white. So maybe queen d1, it's actually the strongest move. Which I... Bishop f5, rook f6, okay, so knight g4, knight f1. Rook f6, queen g4, and white is simply piece up. Rook g6 doesn't work because queen takes g6. Okay, So probably, objectively, after queen d1, black has no enough compensation for the piece. But okay, because of my miscalculation, I played queen d1, and now black obviously has excellent position because they has a lot of targets in king's flank, and so I need just defend knight f5, of course. Somewhere knight takes e3, queen takes h3, it's possible. Okay, so now I'm just wolves. Played knight e2, knight d6. Totally normal move. Other moves, h5 is possible. Okay, knight d6, knight f4. So I'm doing something, but it's not convincing at all. So if g5, of course, my idea is to play knight h5, but for black is no reason to play g5 immediately. Very good for black, for example, was queen e7. And now g5 is prepared already. Because after knight h5, knight is protected and black can consider bishop takes h3. And also black is prepared for bishop f5 positional good exchange. So black is just better here. After h4, bishop f5. If not h4, g5 is coming. So queen e7 was quite strong move. Simple and strong. If knight f3, okay, bishop f5 is possible, or knight e4 is possible. So black is clearly better because white king is weak and white rooks are in useful position. So I was in panic here and make mistakes. So queen d7 probably objectively is not totally correct. Piece sacrifice in good position because after knight g6 white has no advantage. But okay, I made mistake, so I should take and play queen d1. But okay, it was not so easy to calculate, so I made mistake in my calculation. So main mistake that I missed queen e2. I mean this line. Also, maybe bishop f5 is necessary to consider. And this is not the end. Now knight e2 is losing because knight g4, queen e1, knight h2 mate. Yes, queen f3, it's logical, but bishop d3 check. Knight e2. Yes, probably this is the best. Queen takes d2, black should play. Now rook d1. So bishop takes e2 only move, queen takes e2. Yes. And now black has 4 pawns against rook. White wins. Okay, maybe white wins. Maybe black still have some practical chances. Oh, but objectively, white should win this position. Yes. No, no, it's yes. I add yes. It's mind symbols. Yes, white should win this position because only 4 pawns. For material equality must be 5 pawns against rook. How to beat Carlsen? To be in good mood during the game and to believe that it's totally possible to beat him. Yes, so objectively after Queen D1, it's enough compensation for the maybe Queen. But it doesn't look convincing. Queen G2 is possible. White wants Queen H2. If Bishop H3, probably simply Knight F3, it's possible. Queen H5, Queen G5. Knight E4. Looks very good for white. Maybe black has some practical chances, however, for example, this h6, if knight h3, bishop g4, knight f4, bishop f3, king f1. But... Okay, so objectively, I made mistake. Of course, it was necessary to take the knight, but I played queen d1, and now after queen e7, black is better. But my opponent played knight f e4, also possible. But I would prefer queen e7. So he wants to play g5 somewhere, probably. I played h4, f6. Looks like black is planning to play g5 and start attack. So white can only defend. White has no active play in this position. So I took on e4, played rook c2, played g5. Of course, g5 wasn't something forces. Merhaba. Very logical was to play queen f7, this idea to prepare g5 in better moment, and also black has planned bishop f5, knight d6. Okay, probably I can consider risky move g4 to prepare f3. So game is more complicated. After queen e7, it's much more difficult to play with white, in my opinion, because there are all pieces in the board, all knights in the board. Okay, but he played g5, knight h5. Should do something. Queen f7. Bishop takes e4 was a threat. So f3 it's not possible because my knight is hanging. a3, b4 it's too late because black is ready to start attack against king. So it's g takes h4 and king h8 is threat somehow. So I need to react. So I took, played g4. It's not attack, it's more like prophylactic. So, because I want to play f3, immediately f3. Queen takes h5 is possible. Okay, maybe white has some compensation here. Then f takes e4, but it's hardly convincing way. Even queen takes a2 can be considered, but I'm not sure. Queen takes a2, b3, and bishop c4 is cut. So queen takes a2 may be too much. Also maybe queen g6. Black can even consider rook takes e4 here. Okay, so during the game, I thought that f3 just impossible because knight is also knight d6 is possible to consider because knight, and also rook takes e3. But who knows? So position is tricky. The queen f3, rook f1. Okay, so maybe this is a good idea for black to prepare bishop f5. If immediately takes, queen takes, of course, bishop f5 or bishop g4 is coming. Again, it's important that rook b1 is hanging and white cannot play queen h5 or something like this, and black can play bishop f5 in future with tempo. So not always good to play rook b1, especially if you are not continue a3 before. So I played g4. Now my plan is f3. Also doesn't look very convincing, frankly speaking. Rook f8 played Muradli. Maybe it was possible just ignore my plan. Bishop d7. Only after f3 to play knight somewhere. f6 or d6. Okay, knight f6 is logical. Knight f6, queen takes f6. No. My pawn is hanging, so queen e2 is only way to defend. But after queen e2, rook e7. Pleasant position for black. Queen f2. Queen takes f6, rook h2. Rook h2. Rook h2, rook takes e3. Necessary to consider. Rook takes h7. Rook takes h7, queen takes d4. Black is winning. Bishop takes h7. Okay, king f8, for example. So I think black is much better here. So queen e2 I need to play and defend passively. So rook e7. I need to play something like rook e1. If rook e8, queen f2, but of course only black can be better here. For example, this is good plan. Then bishop g6. So objectively white should fight for a draw because white has more weaknesses than black. So my opponent played rook f8, so he wanted to prevent f3 at all. Okay, maybe knight d6 also possible to play this position with knights. Again, e3 is hanging, so king f2 obviously impossible because bishop takes g4. But okay, now white can consider queen e2, and now if rook e7, e4, probably it's possible. And now e5 is coming. This is quite good for black, for white. But okay, so knight f6 is strong. Knight f6, and in this line, rook e7 is good. Okay, maybe queen f2 here is more precise than. But after queen f2, rook f8 is possible. And after rook f1, now bishop e8, for example. e4 is possible, but I don't know if this is really good position for white. And then rook h7 is coming. White has weakness on f3. White has weakness on d4 as well. So anyway, looks like white is fighting only for draw. But okay, rook f8 was played. So my opponent not allow me to play f3. Quite logical looks to take here and play knight g3. Maybe it was the best choice for me. Because, for example, if queen f3, I can just take, play rook c5, after h6, knight f5. If bishop f5, how bad is queen takes a2? Sorry. Queen takes f6, rook h2, where. So, queen takes f6, rook h2. In which moment queen takes f6, rook h2? Here, after bishop takes knight g3. How bad queen takes a2? Yes, queen takes a2 is also possible, yes. But b3 probably. Queen a3 and now rook c5 and then knight takes e4. Black queen is a little bit far from play. So maybe queen f3 is the best, but I know now I can take. My position not so bad because after, for example, takes, I'm ready to play king h2, king g3. probably white is even better here. Also, a5 is weakness, so white can, so black cannot play with his rook from a8. But maybe bishop e6 is possible. Queen is okay. Queen e6, rook c5. Anyways, good. It's a knight f5. Maybe bishop e6 is more logical. If knight takes this, again black trying to utilize rook on b1. So if knight takes g5, queen g6. So not only rook b1 is attacked, also bishop b3 is threat. So probably this was idea of my opponent. Bishop e6 looks like the best try. After b3, okay, maybe b3. It's b3, even a4 is possible. Or bishop d5. Knight f5, something like queen f6 to prepare h5. So probably bishop e6 is the main option. Probably I even have seen this during the game. So I remember bishop e6, bishop takes a2 idea. So I decide to play f4, anti-positional move, but I played this. So now my threat is bishop takes e4 and f takes g5. So black has to do something. He played knight f6, maybe. A reasonable alternative was queen e7. With idea to take with queen. But okay, after queen e7, I can play queen f3. That's my plan. This idea to take on e4 and force black to take with pawn. f5, yes, it's possible, but f5 it will be very similar to game. So he played knight f6 immediately. I took on f6. Looks like I'm forced to do it because if take on g5, knight takes g4 is coming. It's unpleasant for me. So maybe necessary to check. Knight is hanging. Knight f6 just takes. And white has no this combination. Because rook g8 check. King f1, bishop h3 check. Bishop g4, black is winning. If rook g2, king h8. Again, after bishop takes h7, simply king takes h7, and I don't see even perpetual check for white. So knight f6, queen takes f6, and I played f5. So during the game, I was sure that rook h2 is bad because g takes f4, bishop takes h7, king f7. My conclusion was that black is clearly better. For example, if e takes f4, bishop takes g4, queen takes g4, rook g8. So I have problem with d4 pawn, f4 pawn. Also my rook is hanging always. Queen g6 check, I mean somewhere. So I calculated this and I decided that this is really bad for me. But it wasn't a good example of my calculation, because after g takes f4, g5, it's much stronger, and now white has very strong attack. So I missed g5. So g5, and then if, for example, queen e7, yeah, queen e7, bishop takes h7. If king g7, queen h5. So looks like very dangerous for black. So after rook h2, probably the best for black is to play something quiet like h6. But now white can play f5 in better version than in the game. Or maybe white can do something like this with idea. Queen h5. I don't know if it works. Rook h8 unfortunately doesn't work. This idea. This is mate, but of course black can take with queen. But white can consider rook f1, for example. So queen g7 also. Prepare bishop takes g4 and h5. If g5, even bishop f5 is possible. But okay, after h6 I can play f5, at least I can stop h5. But anyway, this type of position, I think only black can be better, because white has weakness on e3. So for example, bishop d7, queen f3, rook e8, rook e1, rook e7. Okay, maybe not rook e1, maybe king g2 to prepare rook h1. This is strong. No, black cannot be better because h6 is weak pawn. So rook h2 was correct try, but to play rook h2 I should see g5 motive. I didn't see, unfortunately for me. So I just calculated bishop takes h7. And also here after king f7, after rook f2, again black has bishop takes g4. Okay, but bishop takes g4 I'm not so clear. Maybe this position is good for white, because if bishop g4 I can take, if rook g8 I can just take, not with queen, with bishop of course. And now rook takes f4. And here two rooks are stronger than black queen. Black has nothing concrete. Yes, maybe also. Yes, maybe also this, and rook bf1. Yes, it's also possible. Yes, so rook f2 even is possible. But okay, this is not so clear. Maybe queen g5. Black can play. If rook takes f4, king e7. Okay, g7 even. Now black is okay. But okay, but g5. But after g5, it's terrible news for black. White has extremely dangerous attack, probably decisive attack. So certainly f5 is bad move. Rook h2 was stronger, and my opponent immediately played h5. Now I cannot take because after bishop takes f5, rook f2, queen e6, black's. Sorry. Not now, because bishop f5 and queen g4. Yes, yes, bishop f5, rook takes f5, queen g4. Now it's unclear. Rook e5 is only move, but after rook e5, queen g3. So I calculate something else. So why not g takes h5? What I calculated. Yes, yes. Yes. Queen takes a3. You are right. Yes. Queen g4, rook f8. Yes. And if rook f1, queen takes e3. Yes, I have seen this during the game. So because of this, I didn't take on h5. So I played rook f2, and now a strange moment. For me, was quite obvious that after h4, black is better because this pawn is very strong. So black plan now is very simple. So they will play bishop d7, rook a e8, rook e7, rook f e8 to attack e3 pawn. And when, for example, some moves. I don't know, something like this. And black will play this position for win. So white has no good plan here. Black can prepare b6 c5 at some moment. So in my opinion, okay, probably white can hold this position, but black has some winning chances. There is some contraplay, queen h3, queen h2, rook f. So maybe something like this. Okay, but now c5. B4 instead of king f1. Okay, b4 it's possible, but after b4, somewhere queen d6, white can have problem with this pawn. So f6 doesn't work. So black has extra target for attack. Or just rook f8. So without b4, white probably has idea king f1, e2, d2 somewhere to go. Now I wasn't optimistic about my position. Again, black somewhere will prepare b6, c5 or queen d6. Okay, probably white can hold this position, but not more. But he played bishop d7, also possible. He's given the pawn, but my pawns are weak. a3, a4, bishop c2. And now, strange moment, so black should play simply b5 in my opinion, and even here I think black has better chances. So his plan is rook e7, rook e8, and then to see what white will do. Okay, probably white can just wait, and black has no good plan. For example, something like this, bishop e3, okay, something like this. But okay, if black is waiting, for example, bishop c8, I think it should be draw. Also, okay, I can rook fe2, e4 probably, so it can be fight. So it was no reason to play bishop d7 in my opinion. So h4 was strong. Because passed pawn h4 is stronger than my pawn. Probably black can consider even another plan, for example, to play king g7 here. If b4 takes queen d6 with idea to put king on f6. For example, rook b1, king f6. Now somewhere queen g3 black has resource, and if not, rook e7, rook. So all endgames will be better for black, in my opinion. So it's another plan. But okay, so b5 was possible. He played rook e7 suddenly. Bishop takes a4. He gave me a pawn. Now I expected him to play rook fe8, rook e1, rook e4, something like this. Okay, but now at least I have already two pawns up, so position still sharp also, because rook h4 is coming. But suddenly he took on f5 and it was mistake. He was in time trouble. Move 36. He made mistake. Bishop f5. So probably he calculate only line this, and black has very good queen's endgame. I mean, if I take everything. But even here, I'm not so sure about this position. Maybe this is good for me. Bishop endgame. Yes, but rook bf1, it's much more natural and much more strong. And after queen e6, e4. And he took with pawn. Okay, so queen takes e4 was better probably, but also losing somehow. Bishop c2 probably. Queen takes d4. Yes, queen d6. This was my idea. But necessary to check if black has no some perpetual check. For example, bishop e6, queen takes e7, queen g4. Simply rook g2. I hope black has no perpetual check here. Check. There is small trap. and black is winning. Okay, rook f2. White should win this. White wins. So other moves. If king h5, I can just take the rook. Queen f6 is possible, but queen f6, white has winning endgame with piece up. So white is winning after e4. But okay, so after b5, this position. Okay, during the game I was quite pessimistic about my winning chances here, but now, for example, bishop c8. Maybe also black has another plan to play bishop e8. Not with idea to take on h5 because rook h2, but with idea to play bishop f7 and rook f e8. But after this c6 pawn will be... Okay, so here white is better. So for black was no special reason. Okay, maybe even a4 was not necessary, so, because b4 is hardly threat for white, so why not to play rook e7? If b4, rook e8. But okay, so positions still tricky. So white has extra pawn at the moment. Not obvious what can be winning plan, but also not so clear what black should do. White has king g2. So such a complicated game. Are there any questions more? So I won, but I didn't qualify for FIDE World Cup. A lot of mistakes. So, any other wishes? Or I should end this stream. Preparation. Okay, it's... I don't like to use engine. because it's just because it doesn't bring me happiness. So, in my opinion, only useful way can be if some work, I mean, analytic works is prepared and then to check results with engine to see what you are missing. With those small so such a game. Buenos dias. So I played Queen C2 line. And finally, I was successful in this game. Also possible A3, same idea. If so, I played this against Yakovenko, but probably Queen C2 is more active plan than A3. If knight c6, white can play rook d1. Maybe a long castle is possible as well. Knight b4, queen e4, c6. Now f5 is threat to win the pawn, so g3. Quite standard position for modern chess, slightly better for white. So I had this type of position in two games against Vichy Anand with black and against young Krzysztof Duda, also with my game against Anatoly Bekhovsky with white. This type of position, not exactly this position. It wasn't in the game. So in game was so h3, bishop h2. How to use? Okay, there is no concrete plan, but white can play knight e5, bishop d3, if g6, h4, h5, somewhere. So not allow c5 in good opportunities. So this position is better for white, in my opinion. Of course, probably e3 black has another plan to play a6 and b5, but I don't know if just here it's enough for equality, for example. b5, bishop d3, bishop b7, white can play knight e4 immediately, or a4 firstly, if b4, knight e4. So black needs to time to play knight bd7 and c5. If allow this, black will be totally okay, but in this position they have no time. This. Okay, c5 is possible, queen c7. But anyway, white has more active pieces, so black needs more time to develop his knight, his bishop, and white is ready to put rook c1, well, castle, I mean castle short, rook c1, rook e1, rook d1, so more promising. Till rook fc8, no, I didn't see. King's Indian h3. So, can you show me this game? to h3, bishop e3. You mean my game against Samonenko, right? So, you mean this position probably. f3, a5, queen d2. Probably knight g2 is more precise, as I explained it. Idea that, for example, in this position, black has no motive h4, bishop h4, knight takes e4. So if image, for example, queen d2, bishop d7, is a4. Okay, just illustration. So with queen on d2, black has this idea. With queen on d1, black has no this. So maybe knight g2 is more precise. Okay, queen d2. So my game was c6, knight g2, takes, bishop d2, knight g3, a4, h4, queen a5, and in my game he played g5. So when was knight f5? h5, h5, rook fc8. Okay, I considered knight f5 idea in my stream, but in some moment after h5. So I considered, I remember something like this: queen d2, c6, knight g2. So this idea I considered during my stream yesterday. My conclusion was unclear. But how was in the game between Rayat and Azaria, move by move? Can you show me? King h7 or even king h8, maybe it's possible. Also I noticed that knight e8 even possible with idea f6. Maybe king h8 is enough. Okay, but still a lot of questions. Now bishop g5. So my idea was king h7, if bishop g5 to play rook h8 and to prepare queen f8, bishop h6. So this I considered yesterday. But okay, so knight g2. If h5, bishop exchange sacrifice. Which exchange sacrifice? Oh, g4, white is just fighting for space. Exchange sacrifice. Okay, exchange sacrifice. Yes, it's okay. You mean like Kasparov played me? Aha. I mean this f3. So it's very similar position. Yes. If knight e2, knight c5. Okay, so let's consider this. So this knight g3, a4, h4, queen a5, h5, rook fc8 was, right? And white play rook b1. Yes, I considered this like promising line for white. And here my recommendation for black was to play b5 yesterday. But so, of course, white has quite dangerous attack because if this pawn takes bishop h6. Bishop h8 looks like only move. And probably knight f5. But from other point of view, probably b4 is possible. Knight b5. Okay, so first your first time here about the opening. Okay, you can. Okay, I am not in Iceland. I am at home. So, which question you have about the opening? Now knight takes e4 necessary to check, and then b3 is coming. Something wild. Okay, but maybe objectively just losing for black. Who knows? Queen g2, b3, king d1, b takes a4. Yes, I agree. It looks like very good for white. So, what is question about the opening? Crazy position. Okay. Not okay. I explained that probably h5 is the best for black. Now, if knight g3, h4, so this is typical plan for black. Knight h7 and then bishop f6, bishop g5. And another typical plan can be if it's possible. Sometimes it's not possible, but for example, white is doing something. Okay, rook b1 is stupid move, and I mean mostly don't know some move. I mean mostly this. Okay, now knight h7. Now this is bad for black because knight g3 is coming and queen h2. But if imagine that black on move here, so bishop f6 and bishop g5 is very standard plan. So if black has time to create bishop f6, bishop g. So if imagine that black is to move now, bishop f6 and bishop g5. So sometimes black doing this with pawn on h4, but sometimes with h But at the moment it doesn't work because black has no time for it. Even this is possible, and now After bishop f6, knight g3, bishop g5, queen h2. White wins, but if image that in this position, so Nimzo Larsen, difficult. H4 before g4. If white plays h4 before g4, black will stop. Okay, h4 now, knight g4. But I mean, if in structure, white image h4, black can stop h5. Well, you mean b3 opening? Uh, it's totally possible to play. Okay, you can study games of Jobava, for example. So many games, but okay, it's you need to know that already there are a lot of theory. For example, this knight c6, e3, knight f6, bishop b5, bishop d6, knight a3. This line you need to know some games if you want to play this. So if you will play b3, it's not guaranteed that you will have a fresh position which nobody knows. So h5, yes. And if bishop g5, queen b6, important. No, it's playable. Okay, not so. Queen b6. And black has two ideas. Knight h7 is prepared. Somewhere, probably queen takes b2 and knight d3 check can be considered. For example, if rook b1, knight h7. But anyway, okay, maybe not knight h7 immediately. Maybe bishop d7 firstly. And only after knight g3, knight h7. For example, knight g3, knight h7. Now, if bishop knight c1 instead of rook b1, knight c1 looks strange because knight should attack. Knight c1. We will just play bishop d7. Okay, it's playable to play knight d3, but it's not attacking plan. And this position is equal somehow. Knight d3, knight takes d3, and rook fc8. And so rook b1, probably bishop d7. If knight g3, knight h7. If bishop h4, f6 is possible. This idea g takes h5, g5. So if g takes h5 immediately, I hope black has good compensation. After takes, queen d8, for example. Because bishop g7 will be strong without opponent. Also, maybe white can fight for advantage after h4 if bishop f6, queen h6. Bishop takes h4 is forbidden because h takes g6. So if bishop g7, queen d2. Or maybe this is possible. Idea to prepare bishop h6. But okay, white has f6 square for queen, or e7 square, for example, h4, bishop h6, queen e7, even possible to consider this idea, h takes g6, check. So probably not so simple. So bishop g5, queen b6, rook b1. If knight h7 immediately, white can play bishop e3. Now queen on b6, not helping black to play bishop f6, bishop g5. But okay, maybe it's a reasonable plan. If queen e3, just queen d8 to play. And later, probably bishop. Okay, depends what white is doing here. King d1 is possible to consider. So now black cannot play takes, and bishop f6 because knight g3, but black can play h4. Now it's playable position. King on d1, it's a little bit strange. Yes, knight c1. Okay, knight c1 is possible, but it's not just aggressive plans. So knight d3 takes. But anyway, maybe position of white is more pleasant because white has more space here. Another question, what to do with king? Probably king e2 is possible. And try to prepare rook h1, something like this. Maybe white is better, maybe. But maybe after knight d3, it's better for black to exchange another knight, this knight. If white will exchange this, probably white will. My idea, if you take, I will take with bishop, and then I will try to penetrate on c2 with rook, or to provoke b3. After b3, probably I will some contraplay with idea a5, a4, or somewhere I can penetrate to c3. Okay, but you can consider knight d1, of course, so it's quite complicated position. Probably knight c1, it's quite logical plan. Nepoding, okay, I have no predictions. More or less equal chances, in my opinion. Okay, so for today it's enough. Thanks for your attention. Goodbye.